America's longest-running road racing championship, Trans Am, returns to Laguna Seca. The early 70s was a golden era of great names and great times. America's muscle cars shook the landscape everywhere they went, all those years ago. Today, Trans Am battles continue to shake the landscape with global muscle cars, a host of new stars, and sometimes the same old problems. It's been a fierce season-long battle with 5 different winners so far. We are here at Laguna Seca Raceway in Northern California, where today the BF Goodrich Tires Trans Am Series Battle for Supremacy continues with round 10 of its 12-round championship. Hello and welcome everybody to one of the great motorsports locations in North America. Derek Daly here alongside former Trans Am champion Dorsey Schrader. And Dorsey, this has been a great battle all year long. The momentum, first of all, was with Brian Simo, just like it was with Michael Schumacher in Formula One with Ferrari. Then it shifted to Paul Gentilozzi, just like it did with Mika Häkkinen and McLaren. Well, you know what happened? Then it went back to Ferrari with Schumacher and they won it all. Can Brian Simo steal this championship and get this momentum back, Dorsey?
Well, Dirk, I think he can, but it's very paramount that he does it right here today. He has got to win this race and get the tide flow back in his direction. Only 3 races to go. There's no time for fooling around now.
That's right, and there may be some spoilers in the mix today, one being Boris Said. Now, he doesn't turn up that often, but when he does, everybody knows he's here.
Well, Boris Said and Brian Simo are best friends. Boris has made a public statement. He wants Brian to win this championship. He doesn't like Paul Gentilozzi. He'll do anything it takes to make that happen.
Yes, he will. Another spoiler could be Kenny Wilden. In fact, he's the big star of the weekend here because he's just scored his very first Trans Am pole position in Jim Derhag's car. He's with Calvin Fish, the 3rd member of our broadcast crew. Calvin?
Yes, indeed, Derek. It's a surprise to see Kenny Wilden on the pole. Remember, this car, the last time we saw it, was being pulled out of the guardrail at Road America. But Kenny, the car rolled off the truck quick this weekend. Are you pleasantly surprised?
Well, I wouldn't say surprised. I think Jim's always had a good car, and very happy to have the opportunity and put it on the pole for Jim. It's his first pole, so it's important to the team, and now everything from here on is gravy.
There's an intense championship battle going on out there. You've got Brian Simo starting right beside you, Gentilozzi, they're just a few points apart. Does that really affect your strategy here today?
Well, you know, you never want to be the one to cause a problem with the championship, but I've told Jim, and he hired me to run this race to win it, so that's what we're here to do. Those guys need to get around me. I'm not going to cause any problems for them, but I'm going to race them hard.
Well, Jim Derhag has been competing in Trans Am since 1983 as a driver and as an owner. He's hoping Kenny Wilden can give him his first victory here today at Laguna Seca.
And what a great job Kenny Wilden put together in that final critical qualifying session. Now let's have a look at the drivers' point stands after 9 of 12 rounds. Gentilozzi barely ahead at this moment of Brian Simo. Jeff Altenberg in the 2nd of the Jaguars. Jaguar also with Paul Gentilozzi is in 3rd place, but really it's Simo and Gentilozzi. That's what it's all about. There is a bit of controversy, but right now, controversy over Houston, but right now this is the championship picture. Now let's go down to the 4th member of our broadcast crew, John Bizignano, who can enlighten us with Paul Gentilozzi. Biz?
Well, Paul Gentilozzi has won this championship the last 2 years in a row, and there's no one on this grid who knows how important momentum is. Paul, maybe some of the momentum was lost here during qualifying. What went wrong?
Well, we started out with tire pressures that were a little too low, Biz. We thought the session would be longer. It got black flagged, and we got caught outsmarting ourselves.
Well, now, a lot of talk between you and Boris Said. You may have to go around him to get to where you want to be during this race. What's going to happen?
Well, I don't think anything will happen. You know, they brought Boris in last year to try to help Brian at Sebring with the championship. They thought they had an ace. He was only a jack.
Okay, well, the man with the other side of that story is my pit partner, Calvin Fish.
Thanks, Biz. Well, Boris, there's been many words spread between you and Paul over the years, and you said you want to be in the thick of this championship battle in one way or another. You're here on the 2nd row. You're between Brian and Paul. What's going to happen this afternoon?
I don't know. I don't really care about Paul Gentilozzi. I mean, today I'm working for Applied Computer Solutions, and great company in Southern California, and hope I can get a win for them. And if I can help my buddy Brian any way to beat Gentilozzi, I'll do that too. It should be a Gentilozzi sandwich.
Well, Boris has gone for 2 in a row. He just finished up winning in GT competition in the ALMS race. He's gone for 2 here today at Laguna.
For those of you who saw the Texas race and Boris had jumped into Peter Shea's car, he was absolutely spectacular. And Dorsey, this is the boxing match here?
You know, this is going to be a great match. Kenny Wilden just said he's been hired to win. Boris just said, I've been hired to win. Brian Simo and Gentilozzi, they need to win to get this championship. This is going to be a boxing match.
Them is fighting words. Look at Boris head. There is your front row. Brian Simo outside Kenny Wilden. The very first pole for Kenny Wilden. We're in the sunshine. It should be good. We'll be back.
The BF Goodrich Tires Trans Am Series is presented by BF Goodrich Tires. Take control. And brought to you by Simple Green, the safer solution that works. And Cutler Hammer.
Welcome back, and this is just a perfect day for racing. Glorious sunshine, not too warm. BF Goodrich Tires Trans Am Series here. I want to take you back to yesterday. This is Tommy Dreesy. And Dorsey, he gets it all wrong right about here.
Turn 3, you saw the big power slide, turns in, the car's very loose. Not this time. He's going to get the thing crossed up, locks it up. Watch the speed, Derek. Into the gravel trap. It's not enough to slow him down.
Watch the impact. Whoa.
Big hit. Very big hit.
The E-Connect backed Ford Mustang. However, he did a great job in qualifying right before that, as you'll see when we go to our car parts starting grid. And on the pole, look at that man with a big smile on his face. Kenny Wilden beats Brian Simo, but they're on the front row together. Boris said, wow, I'd be scared if he was beside me. Beside him, Tommy Dreesy before he had that big crash. Row 3, there's the champion, Paul Gentilozzi. Beside him, Johnny Miller, a lot of trouble on Friday morning. Then he got it right. Row 4, Jeff Altenberg, the second of the Jags, and Mike Lewis is beside him in the Ford Mustang. Row 5 has Stu Hayner. Beside him, the big winner from Texas, Leighton Reese. Row 6, Lou Gelati beside Willie T. Ribbs. Row 7, Simon Gregg. Outside him, Chris Neville. Long way back for Chris Neville. Randy Ruhlman inside row 8, and Peter Shea outside him. Row 9, Kerry Alexander and Mike Davis on the Ford Mustang. 10 has Steve Pelkey and Bob Ruhlman. And then as you look down through the rest of the grid here, Dorsey, Jerry Kinn in 24th place. Grant Sylvester, one of our New Zealand visitors. Second race in a row. Jim Briody. In fact, he has now gone to the back of the grid because, Dorsey, what was it?
He flat spotted some tires, had to put different tires on, so they put him last. Don Soonen's in his second race ever, Derek.
Don Soonen, exactly. Second race ever. Onboard cameras. Randy Ruhlman will carry one, as will Lou Gelati, the number 28 Chevrolet Corvette. Johnny Miller, we've had an onboard camera with him pretty much all season long. Johnny Miller will come up right there. That is the number 64 car, the AutomationDirect.com car, Johnny Miller. And then Brian Simo just ahead of him on the front row of the grid. There is Brian. Let's take a quick look at our Corona storylines. And number 1 has to be Kenny Wilden. How will he go here? Starts on the pole. What a pressure-packed situation. What impact it might have on the number 2 storyline, the championship battle. And as we saw, particularly in Houston, bumping and grinding goes on a lot, particularly at the front of the field. Final thoughts, Calvin?
Well, a driver to keep a watch on is Tommy Dreesy. He qualified 4th, Derek, but he flat spotted the tires, damaged the front tire as well in that crash in qualifying. They looked at the tires, were wondering whether they should change them, go to the back of the grid, but he's got his eyes on 3rd in the championship placing. John Bizignano?
Well, actually, these Trans Am cars have not been here since the early 80s, and everyone has been changing setup in practice and qualifying multiple times. They even made some major changes right before the start of this race. It's a dice roll down here as far as setup, guys.
Well, I tell you, buckle up your seatbelts here, boys, because Trans Am this year has just been spectacular. Downhill run here. This is part of the 7-story drop. Right-hander, the hairpin, they all get in line. and then they unleash it. Dorsey, this number 40 car is very special.
Yeah, he's very good. That car's been crashed pretty badly. That was a Riley and Scott car. After the crash, they put a Pratt Miller front clip on it. So it's actually been a combination of both, and the car is working really well. Tommy Dreese has never run these set of tires since they've been flat spotted. When he gets to turn 1, if they lock up, we got problems.
And keep a close eye on Boris Said, inside second row, and then Paul Gentilozzi in 5th place on the grid. That is where you could see the fireworks. Green flag, Simo and Wilden side by side as they accelerate past turn 1 down to turn 2. On board Lou Gelati. Wilden and Simo are still side by side.
That's going to play into Simo's favor if he can just stay there long enough to get up to turn 3. Of course, now
Johnny Miller gets hit. Little tag. Back with the leaders, and Kenny Wilden makes it to the head. He leads it. Pressure pack situation. Never did this before.
Kenny Wilden, a champion in other forms of racing, has only got a couple Trans Am starts. Him to get the pole is fantastic.
Boris is right ahead of Paul Gentilozzi. Right ahead of him. Remember what he said up front. He wants his friend, Brian Simo, having a look down the inside. Boris said wants to help Brian Simo, and he's in the perfect position to do it.
Now, I know what Brian's thinking. He doesn't know much about Kenny Wilden. He thinks he's going to try him, but this is no rookie up ahead of Kenny Wilden. He's got lots of racing experience, just not a lot in Trans Am.
Here's the corkscrew, plunges downhill, almost go over the side of a cliff. Very fast left-hander, Dorsey, and then you keep going downhill faster.
Well, I'm watching Kenny right now. Wilden in the lead there. Real nice racing line around here on the first lap.
Slowest corner of the racetrack, second gear hairpin. Wilden, Camaro, Mangusta with Simo, Ford Mustang, Jaguar XK.
And that is the very first lap that a Durhog car has ever led in Trans Am.
Is that right?
The very first lap led right there.
Jim Durhog, of course, was a driver himself. Very first pole position. So history being made here.
Oh, the 81 car's got out of the ditch there. That's Kevin Nielsen. And he's got problems, Derek. That car's on fire, I believe. He might have driven that off the racetrack intentionally because that smoke there is not from the gravel. That's an indication of a problem.
From Edmonton, Alberta, so he's come a long way here. Didn't get far, just end of the first lap.
Well, I don't know where he's pulled that off. I don't know where he's pulled the car off at, but that smoke color is the wrong color for the dust, so he's had a problem. Might have blown a motor there.
Now Simo closing on Wilden. This is the uphill run. Very fast, very difficult turn 6. Look at the uphill run here. Look, when you come up, you see nothing but the sky.
And up at the top
still
here,
the sky.
When you nose over that hill right there, you have to really watch you don't lock up brakes. We got a full course caution out now. I see all the flags. So everybody's full course caution to get that car out of the ditch there. You see the driver behind the...
There's Kevin. Not impressed.
Oh, that's okay. He must have lost the motor, and that's the downhill section you were talking about.
Yeah, the problem is they come around there so fast, they really have no option but to go and drag that thing out of there. Dorsey, is this on fire?
Yeah, look, he blew a motor big time, and it lit the oil off underneath. He seemed headed for the dirt. That was a smart move. Look inside the car. It was burning inside with him. Big flames in there.
Wow. That's when you say I had an oil leak.
Yeah, a big one.
The oil leak was caused by a hand grenade. It went off. Yeah, so under full course yellow, 2 laps in, Kenny Wilden can now begin to breathe. I'm sure he's held his breath for those opening laps with Brian Simo, 3 times winner this year, right behind him. Boris Said is 3rd and Paul Gentilozzi is 4th. Welcome back. Now here's another look, Dorsey, at the incident with Johnny Miller and Lou Gelati.
Wow, Miller just ran him right up to the outside. They banged right there. Now watch. Here comes Lewis up the inside. He doesn't know him there. Look how close the pit wall was.
Wow.
That would have been huge.
Now let's go on board with Johnny Miller. This is the hairpin. He slides down the inside.
That's a clean pass right there, Derek. He's on the inside. He's going to turn in here. They bump right there. Turns Gelati loose, and he just keeps hammering away. Hammers him right on off the road. But that's not overall, because now watch the car wiggle.
And remember, Mike Lewis sees all this happening. That's why he comes up. But this is Jeff Altenberg and Johnny Miller, who's making his way toward the front. And Tommy Dreese is missing. There he is right there. Lost about 4 positions. This is the E-Connect Ford Mustang. Because here's what happened. He got mugged by Johnny Miller.
Remember the storyline, bumping and grinding? Look here, Johnny Miller, way optimistic on that. Tags the quarter panel, puts Dreese around. That's 2 cars now in 1 lap.
It is, yeah. We've got a second angle to show you on this onboard.
So now watch Tommy Dreese get off the brakes. He turns in the corners here, and boom, there's the first hit. And that turns him right on around. So Johnny Miller banging his way to the front, so to speak.
He is having an interesting day so far. Meanwhile, Jim Derhag's Chevrolet Camaro still leads, and leads well here, away from the pole. What a proud moment for the car owner, Calvin.
Yeah, Jim Derhag is a proud papa right now. Your boy's doing great out there, showing a lot of savvy in the early laps.
He is, Calvin. Kenny's doing a great job. It looks like he's got about, well, Ryan's getting...
As we say that, he slides it in the dirt and he loses the position.
That's okay. The car is real good. He's, you know, he let out, I told him to check out if he could. He probably got stuck in traffic or something. Brian's racing him clean. They're going to have a good race.
You mentioned you got some understeer. You feel as the fuel load goes away, it'll come in.
Yeah, the car's pretty tight right now. It's got a pretty good push to it. As the fuel load comes off, the car will get better.
That's the story with the 40 car, guys.
Good. Jim Derhag himself had 150 Trans Am starts as a driver, which is 3rd on the series all-time list. And this is only the 2nd time he's ever had one of his cars on the front row. You remember, Dorsey, the other time?
Yes, I do indeed. I did a one-off for Jim, and I was on the outside of the front row with Scott Sharp in Dallas, and Jim about came unglued, so I talked to him this morning. He is elated, and I concur with him. I think that Kenny will catch back up, and I think when he catches back up to Simo, you're going to have one heck of a good race. I'm not too sure. I couldn't see it, but I'm not too sure that Simo didn't give him a little loosening up there as they launched.
If he did, we're going to show it to you because we're going back to the tape of the onboard camera. But Brian Simo forces his way to the front, and they are still a comfortable distance ahead of the championship leader, Paul Gentilozzi. Now remember, Gentilozzi is trying to win 3 championships in a row in 3 different makes of car. First of all in a Corvette, then in a Mustang, and now in the Jaguar. So Paul Gentilozzi trying to create his own piece of history, but he's just a little bit behind the 2 quick boys right now.
You got to wonder if he's not just playing it coy after he saw what he saw with the pass. Maybe that 3rd place is a real safe place to ride right now.
I tell you what, if he does nothing else for the rest of the day, that move that he pulled on Boris Said into turn 2 or turn 3 was spectacular.
And Boris, of course, hasn't been able to answer this pace at all.
Let's go back, Dorsey, and have a look at the replay from outside first. This is the move. It's at the hairpin.
Down into the brake zone. You see Brian big. No, it's lockup. It's Kenny Weldon locked up the rear, I think, or if not the rear, the left front. Oh.
Let's go on board with Brian, and you see exactly what he saw as this thing unfolded.
Watch the left side of the car, Derek. We're going to see the smoke come out. Right there it is. Left front lockup. Sends him wide. Brian did the right thing. He said, no, your mistake, not mine. You're not coming on.
Yeah, and then Brian used all the road forcing Kenny to back off even more. But I'll tell you what, Jim Derhag said exactly as the fuel load lightens, he believed this Camaro may just go a little bit faster. If it does, this will be good stuff. Brian Simo leads Kenny Weldon, and it's Gentilozzi and Boris Said, Stu Hainer, Miller, Altenberg, Gelati, Leighton Reese, and Randy Ruhlman in the top 10. We're back at Laguna Seca Raceway. Don't forget, every Sunday night, Speed Vision News Race Week. For all your information in the world of motorsport that is significant. 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time every Sunday night. On board with Johnny Miller. Johnny Miller and Kenny Weldon is beginning to slow down. He lost a load of positions. Boris Said went by him. Paul Gentilozzi went by him. He is currently shown in 4th place, trying to stay ahead of Stu Hainer. We've also lost Mike Lewis, believe it or not. Calvin?
Well, Mike Lewis is retired, Derek. What was the problem, Mike, that put you out?
Well, the clutch went bad. It was slipping from the first part of the race, and just after a few laps, it's just gone. Climbing those hills here, killed it.
You see a lot of of damage to the left side of the car. You and Lou got into it going down the front straightaway. Do you think he knew you were there even?
Oh, no, yeah, that's just Lou being Lou. He drives like an idiot at times, and this is just one of his idiot days. I don't know what to say. I mean, ran me off the road there twice. You know, I give him room, but I guess it's too much to ask for anything in return. So, but that's the way it goes here.
Like Lewis, guys, he seems to be the target. He seems to have a lot of bad luck, and if anyone's going to get here, it always seems to be this number 12 car.
And the Ford Mustang, the number 12 Ford Mustang, is a car they built themselves by Autocon. It's a very good car, but they do say the sweet spot, in other words, the handling sweet spot, is maybe a bit too small. So when they hit it, the car is very fast, but sometimes they can't just get it into that handling window, Dorsey. And not a lot of people understand what that sweet spot is.
Yeah, and these cars nowadays, the setup on them is so crucial. If you're off 2%, well, that puts you at the back.
Yes, it does. Now Paul Gentilozzi begins to close in on Brian Simo. Biz?
Well, everyone's very confident down here. Paul Gentilozzi used a phrase I've never heard him use before, right before the start. He said, Biz, I'm going to take a conservative approach, repeat, conservative approach in the opening laps of this race. If anybody's in front of me, I'm going to let them go out there and battle. I want good, strong rubber underneath me for the finish. He phoned into the team. He said, the push is gone. Guys, we are the fastest car on this track. I'm just sitting back.
Well, that's interesting because Boris Said is beginning to close up just a little bit on the home link. Jaguar. Is that Murillo? That is Ken.
Ken Murillo with damage.
Murillo.
Sure is. You know when Gentilozzi said, guys, I'm the fastest on the track? He is. He's the fastest on the track. Look at all the dirt come out of Murillo's cars. He's been off in agricultural racing then, and that's going to make things, the left front's going down as well. I think it's going to end up with a flat. That's going to make a real slippery racetrack for everybody behind him.
From Santa Rosa, California, just down the road. I think we can show you a replay here of what happened, Ken. Or
some corkscrew. Oh! Big spin at the top. He gets on the throttle to finish the spin off. That was smart, but now that is not a good place to stay.
Whoa, look at this.
Almost.
That was Bob Ruman, first of all. Then it was Kerry Alexander.
Oh, man, this is not good.
Oh, secondary contact, top of the hill there.
And there you see the front end plow down, and that's what broke the nose. But you couldn't sit there, Derek. That wasn't a good place to be sitting.
Yeah, so there was no damage on this thing until we tried to recover from that incident. And in fact, you know what? He's happy to just go on here.
Yeah, I don't think he does have a flat. It looked like he did, but I think it was just mud and debris coming from the inside of the wheel out.
Chris Neville right behind.
Hey,
Chris Neville had a spin down at turn 2 earlier when he was on his way from the back to the front. Here he comes.
Hey.
Gentilozzi, and go! They're going to make contact.
Well, that was Brian's fault. That was Brian's fault. He turned down on Gentilozzi there, didn't want to.
Look at Said. Boris Said
Said to the lead.
Boris Said takes the lead from Paul Gentilozzi.
I was going to say, I think Brian's car's in trouble. I think he lost some speed. Doesn't make any difference. He turns into Gentilozzi, gets tag spun, and Boris Said sees it all and says, no.
Wow.
Now I'm going to the front.
Hang on to your hollyhocks here, boys. Now Boris Said is in control. Brian Simo will now try and make up the deficit because Simo really needs to finish ahead of Gentilozzi if he's going to stand a chance of winning the overall championship.
Well, I'm not sure, Derek, for sure, but I think that Brian's car, something happened to it. He dropped back way too far. Gentilozzi caught way too much time up in one lap, and then he went by with much too much ease. Brian tried to hold him off, and of course that caused the accident.
Remember what Paul Gentilozzi just said on the radio to his crew. The tires are good, the understeer is gone, and this car we know is very, very good in the braking zones. But now Boris Said has taken advantage. He just won the race earlier on today, the American Le Mans Series race in the BMW. Now he jumps into a Ford Mustang. Oh, he's off. Simo's off.
And this time he's hurt the car. Look at the whole front end. The whole front clip is knocked down.
How did he get there?
His day is over. Ever he got there, oh, that's the downhill. So he went off with a lot of speed.
Brian Simo.
That car is hurt. He's going to have to go to the pits.
Yeah.
You see the whole front clip.
You know what?
His day's over.
Nothing but a plow. Oh, he spins again.
Well, there's something broke on the car, obviously, now. He tries to get going. That's just a mess. That's nothing but a big mess now.
And it's getting worse.
And it's getting worse.
Look at this.
Left rear down, gone.
Left rear corner. So he's hit something with that. We know Paul Gentilozzi hit him on the right rear side.
And I think he's stuck there.
You know what? We're going to...
Yeah, he got it going. But Brian Simo's championship.
This crash is going on a long time.
Yeah, it's going on way too long. And his His championship hopes have just about expired. Look here now.
Let's go back and have a look, because in the braking zone, Dorsey, this was impressive.
Look at the car moving around. He's already got a cut tire, I think. You saw it just wiggle real bad. Now this is Brian's fault. Turns into Paul. Spins him around.
Right rear corner, damage. Now what's Boris said?
Big speed coming off 3. Saw that whole thing happen. Capitalized. Watch again.
Great replay views here for you. Gentilozzi, his favorite place. Brake zone, then contact.
And you can't blame that on Paul. Paul had the inside and he was alongside.
Onboard camera. Just listen.
I've heard that before.
Wow. Now that was a big time hit. Biz?
Just an awful lot of damage down here in Brian Simo's car. The car is undrivable when it came into the pit lane. He couldn't even make it around the last corner into the pits. The whole front end is pushed back heavily. I do not see any fluids coming from underneath the car. The whole right side of the car is pushed in almost to the drivetrain shell inside. The only thing that's straight on this car is the top of the rear trunk. He definitely had a big hit on the right and a lot of front damage. They changed both left side tires, and they are definitely, off comes the hood, guys. Right now, Brian Simo, his championship is over. We'll talk to him as soon as he can.
Yeah, there's the frustration. You see heavy damage here. Watch what this mechanic is out of the way. Heavy damage. That is from the Paul Gentilozzi side swipe. Look at that damage. Boy, he whacked him.
Yeah, I hit him good, but that second time we saw him, I think maybe he got into the concrete wall over there as well, because we saw him bounced off it. This man, though, Brian's buddy there, that's your leader, Boris said, and once he got to the front, he is hammered.
Boris said comes in as a guest driver for this team and is running so well. The ASC Express Ford Mustangs, a brand new car. Races Winston Cup, races Craftsman Trucks, races everything, and he's at the front.
BF Goodrich Tires Trans Am Series is brought to you by Hitachi, Smokehouse Barbecue, and SpeedVision.com.
Welcome back to the BF Goodrich Tires Trans Am Series, and this is a good one. The pole man, Kenny Wilden, beginning to run down Boris Said. Boris Said has only one Trans Am win. He's a guest driver here for the day. Kenny Wilden got himself in trouble earlier on. Gentilozzi just went off the road, and Kenny Wilden. Oh, Steve Pelkey moves over. Steve stays to the inside line, but Kenny Wilden is coming on like gangbusters.
Boy, that slowed up Boris just enough. Now Wilden has an opportunity here. If he can get a run down the inside, he's better getting into the corners than Boris. And not this lap, though.
You know what? Boris has been around the block before. He knows exactly what it means to tighten up the turn in to the apexes here. He's going to make it difficult for Kenny Wilden to make this pass.
Can't say enough about Kenny Wilden. I tell you what, he's shown a lot of savvy here today in just a second start. Oh, Tommy Dreesy, he's in the gravel trap once again. He was in 9th place, and I don't know where he's at, but he's quite well stuck. Oh, that's in turn 7 again.
Yeah, same place as Gentilozzi went off. I will tell you, though, Tommy Dreesy will be pretty happy with what he did today. Not with what he did right there, but he has run on the pace here all weekend long here. Our winner from Long Beach. See it here?
Well, he got it wrong in the braking zone. He's already backwards when he gets into the gravel trap. So he probably got a rear brake lock up like he did over here in turn 4 when he crashed in qualifying, and he's got it into the gravel trap. Now that might bring out a caution because he's in a big target zone in a high-speed corner.
Oh, exactly. This team, Tommy Dreesy's team, run by Jackson Stewart. They're going to go to 2 cars next year. They've in fact bought Paul Gentilozzi's Jaguar to rebuild that for next year, and Wilden is all over him like a cheap suit. Look at this here.
You want to know something that was really neat? Boris said passed his team boss, Don Sunin, and he passed him while leading the race. I'm sorry, it was Mike Davis. He passed him, and Davis got a look at his boy in his car.
Yes, he did. The pace car has to come out. They've got to go and get the E-Connect Ford Mustang. Tommy Dreesy is now down in 14th place as he sits in the gravel trap. Gentilozzi will now close up behind Kenny Wilden, and Stu Hayner will be right behind Gentilozzi. This will be good. Said, Wilden, Gentilozzi, Hayner, Miller, Gelati, Ribbs, Leighton Reese is 8th, Randy Ruhlman is 9th, and Jeff Altenberg in the second Jag rounds out that top 10. We're back. Just a quick comment, Kenny Wilden, yes, he has actually set fastest lap of the race at a 27.5. Boris Said did a 27.6, and Paul Gentilozzi at 27.7. Oh, here we go. Uphill run. Oh,
he's coming. He's coming up.
He is. The brake zone. Can he get the gear change right?
Oh, they bumped.
Blue smoke.
What a pass. Did you see that? They bumped. He banged it in there with the brakes locked up all the way, and Forrest didn't give him any room.
Look at Gentilozzi. There's Jim Derhog. He loved it. What about Paul Gentilozzi? Oh, he's right behind Boris. Kenny Wilden spends his second stint at the head of the field here.
That was a real gutsy pass in a place where if you get it wrong, you don't come back for more.
We've seen Gentilozzi off there. We have seen Tommy Dreese off there. That is a very difficult place to make that move. But this was superb, and a little love tap along the way.
He sets it up here, but he's not sure. He says, yeah, I'm going. Here he comes up the inside, but watch the brakes lock up. Tire's going to smoke inside. Watch Boris. He's going to give him a little love tap. Boom, right there. Hits the curb. Whew.
Look at Boris Said over the curbs.
Both of them in trouble here.
Man, this is good stuff. Kenny Wilden, take a bow. This is good stuff. Jim Derhog put a real good car under him. Now remember what Derhog said earlier. As the fuel load lightens, he thought the car would get better. But Paul Gentilozzi, it still looks as if he's carrying some sort of a problem. Biz?
Well, you're absolutely right, Double D. The car will not turn to the right, and you know here in Laguna Seca that's very essential, coming through 4 and 5 and even up against the corkscrew. So right now he's having a problem turning to the right. Everything's okay when he goes left, but look for him to lose a little bit of ground on the right-handers.
I'm not surprised he can't turn right. He's got a broken left front wheel.
And it obviously bent the toe link, and he's got the thing out of a line in the front, which is not his fault. He banged with his buddy there, Brian Simo, and has actually done a fantastic job with the car that's wounded to do as well as he's doing. But the man on point, Kenny Wilden, I'm very impressed. Derek, he's doing a fantastic job.
He is. There is.
He's leaving him. He is leaving him.
He's running away now. Gentilozzi's now behind Boris. They're going to run 2 cars in 2001. Both his sons, John and Tony, work on this team. John does the data and Tony does the engines. Here's another good fight. This is Stu Hayner trying to hang on ahead of Johnny Miller.
Johnny Miller's car is not putting power down very well. Every time he comes on the straightaway, he spins the tires up pretty well. He doesn't get the launch, and you see Stu Hayner gets a little bit of a jump on him there. But now in the brake zone, the Corvette's good here in the brakes.
I tell you what, though,
locks the brakes up. He's in trouble. Oh, good save.
He already hit Tommy Dreese down there.
You know, Miller could have just touched him there, and that would have been it for him. He saw Hayner with locked up tires, and if he touched him, that would have put him around.
Good run by Stu Hayner.
Here's turn 4. They get off this corner. Johnny Miller's car, the only fault it seems to have is it will not put power down coming off the slow corners.
Look at this defensive line by Hayner. Remember, he won an Elkhart in 1998. He was second in Houston this year.
There was Gelati goes by, Willie T. Ribbs, and right behind them, Leighton Reese. On board Gelati, look at it, climb the hill, look down behind you. And that's Willie T. coming at you right now.
Good one here for Gelati, still in the top 6. Ahead of Willie T. Ribbs. Reese is 8th, Altenberg 9th, Randy Ruhlman 10th. Chris Neville has made his way from the back to 11th. Peter Shea is 12th. Then it is Greg, Mary Beth Harrison, one of our 2 ladies in the race today.
And guess what, Derek? In the upcoming races, we might have 3 ladies as a very accomplished road racer. Linda Popes, with backing from Trenton Forging, which is Stu Hayner's sponsor, is going to get a chance at Trans Am.
Great.
I think she'll do great.
Leighton Reese trying to run down Willie T. Ribbs. There is Jeff Altenberg right there, still in 9th. Randy Ruhlman and Neville are in a fight here. This is 10th and 11th place.
Oh, gosh, look at that. Neville's car real loose, almost gets it in the dirt.
Randy Ruhlman will tell you he's had his best and his worst Trans Am year all in the same year.
Oh, look at this. Both these cars are way loose, and Neville's is the worst of the 2. He gets it all tank slapping up coming out of there. Not a good way to get a launch when you're spinning the tires that bad. Look what it cost him, too. Now, Randy Roman with a big lead there. Neither of these cars seem to be handling the way the drivers would have liked to them. That could be that setup that Biz talked about at the opening of the show.
He still hangs on ahead of Neville. Randy Roman has had 4 engine blow-ups, and he's been drop-kicked 5 times this year in 9 races. So Randy Roman, the 10-year anniversary of him joining Trans Am, is now just barely outside the top 10. No, he's in the top 10.
The BF Goodrich Tires Trans Am Series is brought to you by Corona. Relax and enjoy a Corona. And Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Let's take a look at our high-tech performance trailers owner championship points. And Rocket Sports with Paul Gentilozzi barely ahead of the Huffaker Cavalli Motorsports Mangusta and Johnny Miller's team, Layton's Garage, all the way from Minnetonka, Minnesota. That is pretty closely fought championship for the teams.
Wow, this man, 4 laps. If he can just go 4 more laps, will give Durhag the first win in his career, the oldest starter owner in Trans Am. Holy cow.
What is he doing?
That's going to be a popular win down there. I'll tell you, nobody will be happy.
The track is barely wide enough for Kenny Wilden. In the brake zone, he's 6 the outside wheels, just off the racetrack into the dirt. This is just inch perfect for Kenny Wilden.
They've told him by now, always with me, Derek, when they told me there was 5 to go, it's like you can count it from there on your hand. You can feel the wind coming.
I don't know whether Jim Durhag can stand the pressure. Calvin?
How you feeling, Jim? How's the pressure? Is it getting to you? Nah, Calvin, I've waited a long time for this. Kenny's doing a great job with the YO Camaro. He's got about 2.5 seconds on Boris and Paul. We've got 3 laps to go. I think we're looking real good. But it's never over till it's over. The car's still got to run 3 more laps.
They're hoping he can finish those 3 laps, and the simple green money may be up for grabs today for the first time this year.
We see the tire smoke, and he's over the curbs.
I'll tell you what, it's not that he's not showing emotion. He's in shock. He's totally in shock, I think. Look at this now. Look at this. Here comes Gentilozzi pressuring Boris now for second.
Now remember, to win the $40,000 bonus from Simple Green, he has to be on the pole, set fastest lap, win the race, and lead the most laps. That's the key right there.
He's not thinking about that now. I guarantee you, all he's thinking about now is getting a win. It'd be his first Trans Am win, car owner Durhag's first win, and all he has to do is keep those 2 boys behind him 2 more laps.
Let me tell you, when he crosses the finish line, Durhag's going to think of the 40 grand. Simo, our Boris said, led 19 laps. If Kenny Wilden could stay in the lead, he will also have completed 19 laps. I think that's pretty close, don't you?
Yeah, but it's
I
a
think
tie.
it's close enough.
It's a tie. I do too. I'm with you.
I think Simple
give him the money.
Need to give him that big chicken's neck.
Give him the money.
Look at this here. Boris is still trying to hold off Paul. Boy, this is friction right here. Friction on wheels between these 2.
You know, Paul wants that second place because of the stuff that Boris said about him. On the other hand,
look how close he is.
He won't jeopardize that 3rd place because he knows Brian's out of it. He's going to win a championship doing it smart, I would think. But he wants that second. He really does. They're not going to catch Wilden this way. Next lap, he's going to get the white flag.
Look at Gentilozzi now down the inside.
A bump right here would do it. But
you know what?
Nope, they didn't touch.
Paul Gentilozzi is not going to ease off here. He is not going to ease off. This car does not look as good in the brake zones. There's the poor handling in the right-hander. But I'll tell you what, Dorsey, he is not far behind.
No, he's not. This is what Wilden needs, and it's what he's seeing in the rearview mirror. If he can see in the sun glare, I don't know if he can or not. But look here now. Boris up the inside, passing Dick Greer right there.
This car is backed by Sun Microsystems. They have a lot of people here to watch this team perform. And said has been spectacular. You know what? I wouldn't make a tiny mistake if I was Boris said right now.
You leave that door a little open, and that black Jag would jump in there.
It is. He's going to get just attacked by a Jaguar if he's not careful. I mean, this is a safari hunt here. I'd be real careful. I wouldn't take my eye off that black Jag.
Look at this run. Leighton Reese is getting by Neville. He's taking Ruhlman with him.
This is all for position here. This is all for position.
Randy should go up the inside here. Oh, he's in trouble, too deep. Neville off the outside, now side by side.
Look at 2 boys going up the hill. Look at Ruhlman. Look at Reese. Side by side, and Randy Ruhlman suddenly goes from 11th place, and he might be 9th.
Neville trying to get the inside of Leighton.
Man, these boys are going at it. Remember that Leighton Reese is in trouble.
And his car's really, really
loose.
He's in trouble. He's in the wrong place to have a loose car on the outside.
Neville went around the outside. So Leighton Reese is in some sort of trouble here. Can he hang on?
Yeah,
he needs to go one more lap.
There, Mike Davis gets around him too. He is in trouble.
Mike Davis, remember, teammate to Boris Said, built this new car for Boris to come here. Tommy Dreesy may be lapped by Kenny Wilden. Move over, Tommy. Give him all the room he needs.
Give him his room. He needs to get by here cleanly. Half a lap to go. Oh, no. Tommy's
White flag lap.
Well, now, they can't catch him. That's one good thing. Even if he stays behind
Come on, Tommy. Give him the room here. Kenny needs the inside line. Oh, he's on the curve.
Oh, the last half a lap.
Man, he's been made to work for this. Kenny Wilden, I tell you what, the chills will begin to run up and down his spine because he can smell the victory. He can taste the champagne, as can Jim Derhog. This is a turn up for the books. Now remember, he qualified on the pole. So this isn't just by luck that he wins this. This was a huge street fight. And Kenny Wilden is going to make Jim Derhog cry with emotion. There it is, his very first Trans Am win for the car owner, for that car, and for Jim Derhog. There is second with Boris Said and Paul Gentilozzi. What a fight these two boys put on. And it was clean and straight. Calvin?
Jim, how does it feel? It's been 17 years, buddy.
I'll tell you what, Calvin, it isn't about the money. It isn't about anything. I've spent every year since 1983 trying to win one of these things, and Kenny finally did it for us.
You said it's not about the money, but we just got the word you won 40 grand.
I don't care about the money today. Today it's about winning our first Trans Am race as a team.
You can't see it, guys, but there's tears in his eyes.
Well, Calvin, maybe we can't see it. We could hear it. Yeah. We could hear the emotion in his voice.
And as a guy, I drove for him. I tell you what, I couldn't be happier for Jim.
That is great. This victory circle will be well worth it. 5 different cars now have won Trans Am races this year. Cavalli, Ford, Jaguar, Pontiac, and now a Camaro.
Welcome back to Laguna Seca. Kenny Wilden celebrates his first Trans Am win. Kenny, what a drive. You took the lead early, you went back in the pack a little bit, then you responded.
Well, we for some reason we lost our clutch. I don't know why, and that really messed me out because I use the clutch on my downshift, so I had to learn how to 2-foot it, but we came back and Jim just gave me a great car. I just made some slight adjustments, and I knew I had more for Boris, but I just was waiting for my time. So
just take a second to look behind you.
Oh my God.
That'll come in handy. Hopefully we'll see you at the last 2 races this year. I mean, what was it like to be out there battling with guys who are in the championship hunt?
Well, you know, to their credit, everybody drove a clean race. You know, I raced Boris Tough and Simo into the first corner, and we could go side by side. It was incredible. That's the kind of racing I like.
The car seemed to come around once the fuel load went away.
Well, you know, I was massaging the bars, and Jimmy was helping me with that because, you know, that's very important in the later stages, and it seemed to work really well. So I don't know. I mean, it's incredible. This is for Jim Derhog, who has been in this series for so long and persevered and put his trust in me, and this is for Jim.
Great performance today, Kenny.
Thank you. Thank you.
That is great to see. 126 different Trans Am winners, and this definitely is one of the more popular ones. Well done, Kenny Wilden and Jim Derhog.
The BF Goodrich Tires Trans Am Series is presented by BF Goodrich Tires. Take control. And brought to you by Simple Green, the safer solution that works. And Corona. Relax and enjoy a Corona.
Well, welcome back to everyone to Laguna Seca Raceway. Boris Said what a great drive, but the most amazing thing about it was a brand new car.
Yeah, brand new. I mean, these guys from Applied Computer Solutions, they finished this car at 2 in the morning on Wednesday, And if you saw what they looked like then, I mean, they look as ugly gets. And it was good that they got a shower and cleaned up, because I was beginning to wonder. But I mean, for a first time out, car ran great. BF Goodrich tires. It's been a long time since I've been on those again. Those guys have pretty much started my career, and I owe those guys a lot. They make a great tire, and I think it was a pretty good run for the first day. I think Paul gave me a little gift at the end. He was running for points, and he knew I didn't care, so we'll take second today.
Congratulations, Paul Gentilozzi. A problem out there. What happened when you and Simo got together?
Well, I pulled up alongside. It was obvious. I caught him back up. His car was going away, and he slipped coming off the corner, so I pulled up inside. And I thought, well, it's no problem. I'm just going to go by, and it startled me when he tried to come back across. We got together. He spun. I don't know what happened after that.
Well, congratulations on a good third-place win. Well, listen, when these two got together, they acted like the pros they were. Seth and Gentilozzi, two great drivers.
Good job, Paul. Let's have a look at our unofficial results. Great run for Kenny Wilden, and those two names at the top of the list here made it a very proud day for lots of people. Gentilozzi, of course, you see rounds at the top 10. The sad thing, but I think was Brian Simo. But Dorsey, I think you liked what you saw.
I loved what I saw. I saw Kenny Wilden, the new guy, come into a series that a lot of people thought could not be won by somebody other than those two drivers that we always see at the front. Kenny Wilden showed him today with speed. The other guys didn't break down. He beat him.
Have a look now at the championship points. Paul Gentilozzi, 29 points. He needed 64 to clinch it today. He's got a long way to go still to try and win this championship over Brian Simo, but it was full action. For John Bisignano, for Calvin Fish, for Dorsey Schrader and Derek Daly, we want to say so long from Laguna Seca, but don't forget to log on to www.speedvision.com for all your news in the world of motorsports. So long.